Welcome back to Harold Maguire. I want your massive head on a spike. I care about Arsenal so much, probably too much. 11 men I've never met, running around in circles, sometimes literally, ruining my weekend. What a way to live. And that game at the Amex straight up ruined my Saturday evening to the point where I cancelled plans and lay on my bed watching terrible reality TV for escapism. We do an instant reaction live stream on the Cannon podcast after every game. And I mean, look at me. This is about 10 minutes after the final whistle. Bro is literally disassociating. And then Liverpool dropped points, and we were so back. However, whatever Liverpool are doing, we need to be honest with ourselves. If we continue to drop points like we did at the Amex, no matter what they do, there's a question we're going to have to answer very soon. An elephant in a room we can no longer ignore. While I maintain that Arsenal still absolutely can have a successful 24-25 without it, because we're in a good position in the other competitions, the question will be, is the Premier League title race over? Some might think it already is. I think Liverpool will continue to drop points as they did on Sunday, as I've said all year. And if you don't believe me, then fine, believe a Premier League manager in Thomas Frank. If you're convinced they're perfect by their performance against relegation form Man United, great. I'm not. So there is something to play for here. But the problem is now, we may have done too much damage to ourselves to capitalise if, or as I think, when they do. These are the sorts of weekends we have to win on, and we didn't. If Liverpool win their game in hand, they're still 9 points clear. And right now, unless something drastically changes with us, with how good Liverpool are, it's going to be very hard to close. There's historical precedent for all manner of things happening. Arsenal were 13 points behind United after 19 games and still won the title in 98. But as we sit here today, I don't think we'll be perfect from here on out. And I don't think anyone would disagree the title is still Liverpool's to lose, despite Sunday's result. So, how have we got here? And how can we ensure we fall no further behind? Well, firstly, I don't want to hide from it. We haven't been good enough. I'm going to make a video a little bit later on in the week talking about what Arsenal can learn from Liverpool. And there's a lot. Because of what I'm about to say next, people are going to ignore this part of the video and say I'm making excuses. But the fact is, we haven't been good enough. Already this year, we've discussed our lack of central access and chance creation. We've discussed how poor and confusing the summer window was. We discussed the lack of usage of Nwaneri when Ødegaard was out, our lack of transition quality and readiness. I've got a new issue brewing with how we react after high turnovers. Our conversion rate isn't good enough, although that is linked to our transition. We've discussed our malfunctioning left-hand side, our lack of senior players stepping up, how we're consistently losing points from winning positions, all of which is in our hands, and a lot of which is on the manager. I don't know how many more times I can say Arsenal need a forward before I rip out my own eyeballs. That is all on Arsenal. But as the seconds ticked over at the Amex on Saturday, I was also struck by another equally frustrating aspect of all this that we haven't really discussed all that much. One that sits alongside, not as a counter to the fact we haven't been good enough, but as an addition. And that is, we have been incredibly unlucky. You need at least a bit of luck to win a title. Go back and look at any title winners in the last 30 years. So, if you're looking for a bit of copium from this video, I think we can expect a bit of a swing in the second half of this campaign. There are things that should happen over a 38-game season that seem to have happened in the first 20. I also think variance has massively hit City, by the way, and look what's happened there. But I don't think it has yet hit Liverpool, and that's who we're chasing. And I want to prove that to you. My point isn't refereeing alone, or injuries alone, or fixtures, or whatever. It's refereeing and injuries, and fixtures, and moments, and variance. It's all that combining with us not being good enough to cause the issues we're feeling this season. And it is wrong, in my view, maybe even disingenuous, to put this all on Arsenal. People will say 6 first-team players in Martinelli, Havertz, Ødegaard, Saka, White and Timber being out for the first half against Brighton is no excuse to drop points, and then in the next breath tell you that just one more first-team player would win us the league, probably Isak. So what is it? Is it that first-team quality matters, or it doesn't? This season, there are only 6 Arsenal players in Neto, Saliba, Kivior, Jorginho, Nwaneri and Trossard who have not missed any games through injury. Ethan is now injured though, and Saliba's missed games through suspension. I'll say that again. Only 6 of our squad haven't been injured at some point. Another was cup-tied, another's been suspended, another is now injured, and barring Saliba, only one of them gets in our starting 11. This isn't some perennially injured squad we've built, by the way, barring the Tomiyasus and Zinchenkos. This is from the usually reliable Ødegaard, Gabriel, Saka, and so on. There's a wider conversation here about the football calendar in general. There's injuries everywhere. But just for us, you can't deny it's a massive, massive aspect of this season. Just for a lovely, helpful comparison that will make you feel really good, Liverpool have 10 with no missed in Salah, Gakpo and Diaz, their entire front three, Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch, their whole midfield, Endo, Robertson, Kwanzaa and Van Dijk. And that number would be 13 if Trent, Kelleher and Nunez hadn't missed one match each. That's over double our number. Big names, available and in form. This is slightly subjective, but just looking at first-team players who've missed over 3 games in all competitions, so not the Tierney's and Chiesas. For Arsenal, we've had Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber, White, Ødegaard, Saka, and you could maybe put Marino in there, all out for more than 3. And for Liverpool, Alisson and Konate. Maybe you could argue Jota. Comparatively, that's a horrible bit of variance. Sorry, this isn't very fun, is it? Spurs are rubbish. Well, that helps. Fixture-wise, we know about the beginning of our season. We're halfway now and it is starting to even out, although just in our head-to-head with Liverpool, you'll see in a second it actually hasn't. But you can't divorce being a bit further off the pace than expected at the halfway point from that cluster where we had some very tough away games in both the league and away in the UEFA Champions League at Atalanta, Inter and Sporting. Every reliable model rating fixture quality agreed we were due an easier run at the time. And you can say, well, everyone plays, everyone wants, it evens out. But that's where we lost the points. And for the it all evens out crowd, try this. Both Arsenal and Liverpool have played everyone in the top 12, but only 3 of those games for Arsenal have been at home. Meanwhile, you'll never guess, Liverpool have only played the current top 12 at home, barring 3 of them. Us, Newcastle and Tottenham, and their first one away was at the end of October against us. As I say, if you want some copium, I think there is some here. Adding to all this, the PGMOL gave us another lovely present at the weekend, the refereeing. Liverpool have had 1 Premier League red card, Arsenal have had 3. In all 4 of those incidents, the team losing the player dropped points, with Liverpool drawing with Fulham when Robertson got sent off, and with us against Brighton, City and Bournemouth. When you lose players, you drop points, no matter who you are. Were ours justified? You'll be shocked to hear my opinion. If you think Trossard kicking the ball away a moment after the whistle deserved a second yellow, fair enough. If you want that to be a yellow and a sending off in one of the biggest games of the Premier League season, fair enough. But that's minus 2 points. There, done. If you think Rice's red was fair, and that yellow card rule has been fairly applied across the season, not just another directive that gets forgotten about by halfway through by PGMOL, just like the year it was foul throws or the year they added on loads of extra time, then fair enough. But that's another 2 points lost. 4 against Brighton. If you do think either of those are fair, genuinely can't be asked to argue with you, agree to disagree. But where there's no debate is that hasn't happened to Liverpool. Saliba against Bournemouth, I do think is a red actually, and I said it from day one, even if it's a bit tight. Is that a game where you could do with a bit of luck swinging your way? Absolutely. For example, Ødegaard at Anfield last year is a definite handball and we got away with it. But we've had nothing like that this season that I can remember. And finally, the penalty against Brighton away is, hand on my heart, one of the worst refereeing decisions I have ever seen in my life. I said it straight after the game and I thought, am I overreacting? No, I believe it even more. When match of the day side with you, you know something's up. You will never see a penalty given for that again this season, or probably ever again. Same way you'll never see 2 yellows given in one sequence of play, like what happened to Martinelli, ever again. If you're in the, well, if that was a foot, you want a penalty camp, then explain the Jesus incident against Villa last season to me and why we didn't get that. And finally, just unlucky moments. If Martinelli's a toe further back, we beat Fulham. If Raya's leg is an inch higher versus City, that ball goes over the top. And even with the sending off, we beat City. If Gabriel doesn't have to go off against Liverpool, do Miles and Kivior have to come up against Salah, we beat Liverpool. If, fine margins of football, fine. But let me put it another way. When was the last time you felt the fine margins went for us? When was the last time you felt we scammed a win? We came out of a game going, we didn't deserve that, but thank God we got through it. The last game I can remember feeling like that is Leeds away in 22-23. Maybe Villa this year, where Watkins probably should have scored. But even then, I think on balance, we deserve something from that game. Games like Newcastle, Everton this season, totally on us. Nothing going on there. We deserve to lose. Even with a couple of injuries, they had some too. we deserve to lose. But to win titles, those tight games, those fine margins have to go for you. And they're just not. Someone replied something to me on X the other day, and it caught my eye because I genuinely want feedback about my analysis. If there's anything that you think I'm missing or not getting right, tell me. I want to learn. I want to grow. The replier said they like my stuff, but they don't think focusing on luck makes for good analysis. They'd rather focus on things we can control and how we can get better. And I totally get that. But at what point, if not now, can we include a bit of variance in good analysis? Do we just always discount these things no matter what's happening? If the entire squad got lost at sea, do I still have to talk about central access? 95% of this channel is about the stuff we can control. You won't catch me after defeats going, "No, we just cursed. Oh, bro, it was the wind. The PGML holds satanic rituals against us." I sit here and I do my best to point out what I think are tactical, technical, physical, whatever flaws about the team as I see it, where we can improve. But is it good analysis to ignore something that I hope most people would agree has cost us somewhere between 6 and 10 points this season? If we had a systemic issue or a player that was causing us that problem over and over again, 6 to 10 points worth of swing, would it be good analysis to ignore that? If you think I'm making excuses, absolutely fine. But to those of you who do listen, you know what I'm saying. It's not either or. It is both. The fact is, we can get better, but we're also due some variance to go our way in the second half of this season. We're due a Harry Maguire winner. We're due Liverpool dropping some stupid points. And we're not as bad as ignoring that makes us out to be. We need to ensure we are there to pick up the pieces, unlike this weekend. But I also think we can afford to lick our wounds a little bit more. For now, look at what we can control. Get our players fit and keep them fit. I want more effort, more intensity, more immediate impact from senior members of the squad. Jesus, Trossard and Sterling, I'm looking at you. I want us to transition better. I want us to take advantage of high turnovers better. I want more efficiency in the box. Odegaard, I want you to get a nanny and get some sleep. Stand up and be counted every moment of every match. And sign a blimmin' forward. Every drop point for us feels like the end of the world because of the position Liverpool are in, which frames everything. And I feel that. But this season is far, far from over in all competitions. And if you believe in karmic justice, I think we are owed some of that in our direction. If you like The Different Knock, you can support us on Patreon monthly, or you can buy us a coffee.